Good evening, folks. So I've been hearing tons of Democratic politicians talk about how we need to support Israel, stand with Israel, protect Israel's right to exist, protect Israel's existence, and therefore rush them like another, 14 billion in military aid. And I'm just trying to figure out, how is Israel's existence threatened by Hamas? Like, how? I mean, Israel's existence has not been threatened at any point in the last 75 years. People keep falling for a lot of the deliberate myth-making that was sort of spread around at the time. Ben Gurion talked in 48 about a second Holocaust, and everyone should be worried about this, and rush to support it. Internally, they knew they were not remotely threatened by anybody. In fact, the new Israelis, and in fact, months before the creation of the state, because this started in 47, not in 48, but they spent most of their effort on expelling Palestinians, not on fighting any Arab armies. This whole, 6 armies attacking Israel is just complete bullshit. I mean, the Lebanese forces stayed in Lebanon. In fact, the Israelis invaded Lebanon and occupied a significant chunk of it during the 48 war and then pulled back from it. Of course, Ben Gurion at the time was still talking about going all the way up to the Litani River and taking that territory, but set that aside. The Jordanians stayed in the West Bank. They had already made a deal before the war in order to take that kind of territory. Almost no one did any serious fighting. And at the start of the 48 war, the Israeli forces outnumbered all of the Arab forces combined, and that's before you called up any reservists. They had the upper hand in the entire time, and they knew it, and they said it internally repeatedly. And that's the hardest fight that they ever had. Every war after that, Israel always had a massive advantage. You think about the 56 Suez crisis. They just steamrolled the Egyptians. Think about the 67 war. They struck first and crushed everything. They destroyed the Egyptian Air Force was destroyed on the ground. I mean, at no point has Israel's existence ever been threatened, and that's before a dime of American money came in. We weren't supporting them before the 73 war. We just weren't. They were getting their weapons from France. It's absurd to think that Israel is some poor victim that we have to rush money to when they are a fully developed country with the 17th highest standard of living in the world. Of course, for Israeli Jews, not usually for Israeli Arabs, but set that aside. Still, overall, 17th in the world, that's higher than much of Europe. They don't need your money. This rush to send cash to Israel, it serves 4 basic purposes. First, it's corporate welfare. It's a handout to the military-industrial complex because both Republicans and Democrats love giving taxpayer money to massive defense contractors so they can rake in billions in profit, cranking out tons of weapons for, more imperialist wars or whatever. Second, it fuels the settlement process. We are directly helping the Israelis to seize more land, both in the territories and inside 1948 Israel, in order to build more territory for Jews to live on, not, of course, like Palestinians or Israeli Arabs. 3, it actually continues to weaken America's standing in the world and fuel the rise of Islamic radicalism. It actually directly helps tons and tons of terror groups that directly threaten people, including us, because it shows that we are perfectly happy to support a genocidal project in the area. And 4th, it actually directly supports a far-right racist government. Netanyahu's politics are literally fascist. The origins of the Likud, going back to the Harut, going back all the way to the Beitar movement that started it with the revisionist Zionist movement, it's literally fascist. It was fascist at the time. It was like classic era 1930s fascist. And has never lost that ethno-national aspect to it. And Netanyahu's government has been intentionally eroding Israeli civil society and weakening its democracy for a long time. In fact, all of the right-wing governments since they first seized power in 1977 have been doing that. Not that the democracy was ever terribly strong to begin with, but that's a whole different discussion here. Point is, American money serves these four interests. It's corporate welfare, it funds settlements, it creates Islamic radicalism and terrorism, so it obviously perpetuates our war on terror, which obviously feeds the first one as well, and, yay, more money for defense. And fourth, it directly aids the development of a fascist state that is eroding what little rights the Israelis have left. That is the Democrats' legacy. That's what Democratic politicians want to do, to fuel more fascism in the world. Oh boy, that's a whole other topic, and don't get me started on that. I will absolutely start ranting on how the Democrats have been helping the Republicans for the last 50 years drift into fascism. That's a whole different topic, and yeah, we can hit that other day. So I just figured I'd hit that today because I just saw some of my local representatives talking about this, and I'm tired of seeing Democratic politicians talk about how they need to rush more billions to Israel to protect its existence, like Hamas can possibly threaten that. Hello.